All right. Pen. I'm setting it right here. Set it on the cloth so it doesn't roll off. All right. Come fill in any part you would like to, Yareli. On that top line, on length. You can either give me a unit or the equipment.
Just one thing?
Just one thing. On length. But it has to be for length. That way nobody's down there at time. Got it. You'll get to do that later.
Oh, hold up.
Good? Yeah, that's great. All right. Give me Diabion. Anything you want to write.
I don't use these. How do you do this? You got your right up here.
You just got it right there. Yep. Just don't let any other part of your hand touch while you're doing it, because it'll erase. Okay. And let me have Mario. Fabulous. We have one more. How about, find the name of this. Derek. For length. Anything else you want to write up there for length? Sure. All right. Do you have something extra on your paper that's not something they wrote down? Do you want to ask to see if it's right? Anybody? All right. Volume. Let me have Malik. Anything you want to write? Kiloliters is great. How about Jose? Fabulous. How about Eduardo? Anything you want from volume? Great. How about Elizabeth? Really? Why not? You can't put an answer up there? How about I call on you for time and I come back to you? Will that be better? Okay, I'll come back to you for time. I give you a moment to think. All right, Grace, go put something up there for volume. I gave you a heads up that I'm coming back. So pick something you want to write for time. What did you do?
I didn't do anything.
Okay. You're the first person I've had do that. All right. Elizabeth, I need you to be brave. We have complete confidence in you. You got it. You been going all this time?
Yes.
Huh?
I've been invited.
They said they only needed you for a few minutes.
I know, right?
I need to go back and tell them what a few minutes is. I thought you came back and left for the rest of the class. We're just finishing what we didn't finish in class for homework, by the way.
All right.
All right. That was very brave of you, Elizabeth. That wasn't so bad. That wasn't. Thank you, because I didn't even realize it was missing.
So is it 1 through 7 on or something like that?
Yes, that is correct. It'll be on the website for lunch. All right, how about Markel? I think for a minute, I was saying, I can get it. Markel. I thought you were supposed to be eating chips like super quick.
See what happened was.
Good. All right. How about Ocel? Have I called on you? All right, how about maths? Let me have Isella. Okay, how about Trevor?
Why is it so big?
Huh?
Why is it like that?
It just is. You need a notebook?
No, I got no photos. I didn't go home last night. I went to my friend's house, so I didn't. Yeah,
Oh, okay. All right, how about you, my dear? I was getting there. I was just scoping out to see what I could hold on.
Where's the marker? Where's the marker? Oh, right.
Go right. Yeah. You finished, Liliana? Bring it. That's what I'm working on right now, getting in my notebook. Okay? Now, can you tell me the right name? Even though you didn't bring a scale?
I forgot.
Okay, I will take scale.
Triple beam.
Triple beam, so the B.
Balance.
Yeah, triple beam balance.
I erased it. I don't know what that is.
that's it. Well, it's a normal day. When do we have one?
120.
Oh, okay.
Good. All right, can I get Joseph to do one? It's okay. Joseph, can you do one? For Jeremy.
Either not.
Can you be brave? Why, you can't write on the board? No, you can write it. Come on. I have complete confidence in your ability. Come on. Elizabeth was brave, you can be brave too. Come on. He's next, don't worry. Come on, Joseph. We're all friends in here. Thank you for being brave.
Shut up, boy.
Very good. Excellent. All right, Tyler.
You spell with the S or C?
It's an S.
All right, cool.
Half the time I spell it with a C, but it is actually with an S. All right, who have I missed? Liliana wasn't here yesterday, so I won't pick on her today. I got Eduardo. I got the Jeff. Joseph, put your phone away unless you want me to have it. I think I got everybody. You ready? You want to do the last one? Can you think of the last temperature that goes up there? What do? I got Eduardo. He already went. Trevor went. Can you think of the last?
I think it's your turn.
What's the last temperature one? Fahrenheit. Everybody got it?
Yep.
All right. So if I ask you any of that tomorrow on the quiz, are we okay with it? Okay. If the answer was no in your head, or if you said no out loud, you need to study a little bit between now and tomorrow. Okay? During the lab, I'll get somebody's notes and make a copy for Liliana since she was not here yesterday. Okay? I only do that the first couple days until people get acclimated to being in the class and know what they need to do. Okay? After that, you need to ask your friends for notes. It's also uploaded on the website, so everybody should know what to do. All right, so yesterday we were working on a worksheet. I told you we'd go over it today. So if you will, find that. I'm going to get Liliana one so she's got it. And we're going to go over the answers, make sure everybody's on the same page, got what they need. Nobody's behind or doesn't know what's going on. Now, you're opening, put it in a safe place. Put it back in your notebook. Don't take notes on it today, okay? Leave it someplace safe. Tomorrow we'll put opening 2 under it, okay? Leave it. If you've got a spiral bound notebook, skip a couple pages. So if you're Mario over here, and he's got a spiral bound notebook, skip 2 or 3 pages, and then take your notes so that tomorrow you can come back to it. Okay? Because you're going to need to rip them out and turn them into them when we get to number 10. All right. Let's get rid of that. No. Come on, document camera. All right, so yesterday, you guys worked with inches and centimeters and talked about making sure we knew that this was the centimeter line, right? So you drew a nice short line of 3 centimeters that should look about that long on your paper. And then you drew 7 centimeters, so it should look about that long on your paper. And then you drew 1 centimeter, and it should look about that long. Now, then you drew 10 millimeters, and it should look about that long. What do you notice about A and B? They're the same length, okay? Some of us drew 10 millimeters, and it was actually 10 centimeters, so you had to go back and fix that. All right, how many millimeters are there in 1 centimeter? There were 10. And a lot of you asked me this question. What part of a centimeter is 1 millimeter? 1 millimeter is 1 out of how many? So you could write it as 1 over 10. And somebody asked me if they could write it as 1 out of 10 that way, and I said, yes, I'd take that. Or you might remember in math class that 1 out of 10 is the same as writing it as 0.1, and I would take that also. Okay, any of those answers are acceptable. All right, number 6, you're actually measuring the line. Now, the beginning of this little line right here, and I'm coloring it in red on the ruler, that's like the start line, okay? You don't count that one. But it has to be at the very beginning of this line, and then you measure to wherever. And it comes up to what on the ruler? it comes up to 5 centimeters. So how many millimeters are there if you count the actual itty bitty lines in between there? There are actually 50 itty bitty lines. Now, if you do the same thing with this one, there are 30. Now, the short way to do that, for those of you who don't know, is if there are 10 lines in each, you can say 5 times 10, and that's how you can get 50 without having to count all those itty bitty lines. All right, on the back, they're showing you how to read decimals at this top. So this would have been like 5.1, 5.2, and then 5.3. So they're trying to tell you that the rest of these are not going to be whole numbers, they're going to be decimals. So when you read this line, and again, putting that red at the very beginning, this turns out to be about what? What'd you think? All right, 6.4 is fine. Or you might have said 6 point what? 6.5. Either one is fine. Okay? Now, in the second one, what'd you get there? 2.1 is fine. Anybody have something different? 2.2. Okay? That's about what I'd have said too. Either one is fine though. Now, for number 8, we talked about this yesterday for those people who were down to this point. They asked me which one's length and which one's height. Does it matter which one you make length and which one you make height? The answer is no. Okay? I asked the math teacher this just to make sure I wasn't teaching it wrong all these years. Length and width are really irrelevant. Most people tend to make the longer side the length and the shorter side the width. But does it matter? The answer is no, it does not matter. Okay? So if you did what most people did and do, they typically look at this and go, this is the longer side, so I'm going to make it my length, and I'm going to say that it is 7 point, what'd y'all say? What'd y'all say it looked like to you? I'm going to go 7.1 or 7.2. What'd y'all say? Okay, so that would make it 71 or 72 millimeters. All right, so for the width, what did y'all say there? I got about 43, 4.3 or 4.4. So that's 43 or 44 millimeters. Okay, now if you flip these and you made this the width and this the length, and you flip the numbers, there's nothing wrong with that. Okay? Any questions about that? All right, because you're going to use rulers today. Are we okay with how to use those? Okay? Remember, we will never use inches in my class. Ever, ever. Everything has to be in centimeters. Everybody okay with the centimeter side? All right, we need to practice a little bit with the scales and reading graduated cylinders. But first, I want to talk about how to use the scales. And then we'll do the lesson. All right, let us talk about the scale. I'm going to close the door. Ms. Bowers is going to have freshmen coming in every day. I cannot listen to that. I don't have the patience. All right, so if we look at putting something on the scale, tell me what you remember about how to use the scale. Because you're going to have to do this today. You have to do it several times the next week. What do we do first? Yeah, what do you think?
Make it balance.
Okay, how do we make it balance? I got that part, Justin. Most of us do. What do you do to make it balance
You
today?
have to move that.
Move what back? The middle one, the bottom one, or the top one? Let's go with that. Why do we move the middle one first? Because it's heavy. Okay, what did you say? It's very similar, except the doctors have one weight to move instead of 3. Okay, so when they move the one weight, it will balance exactly like Joseph said, in that it will balance, but they only have to move 1 to get it to balance. You have 3 to move to get it to balance. Okay, so that's the difference. So we're gonna move the heaviest one first. We're gonna move the heaviest one until what happens? Moves higher. Till it goes down, okay? This tells you the weight is too what? Too heavy. So we're gonna move it higher. Back up. Trevor, you paying attention to the weight? Okay, I get really insulted when people go back to sleep. Okay. Now, if we look at the next two, the bottom and the top, which one should I move next? The top. Okay, move the next one that's next heaviest. So you're going to move it until what happens again? Until it goes down, because that tells you it's too heavy. You're just going to keep sliding along. Now, notice when I do that, I'm getting it in a groove. It can't sit between the groove, it has to be in the groove. And then I move it back to the next groove. And it pops back up. Now I'm going to slide the front one along until it balances. And now you can look at the front lines and get it to balance. And this is where I need to get the front. And I oftentimes find it easier to use a pencil or a pen to slide it rather than using my finger, because sometimes it's a little grippy. And I just nudge it until the lines line up. All right, or I have something drum on board. Okay. All right, so you got a top beam. All right. You got a middle beam. You got a slider beam. All right, how do I want to show this? So it looks the same. Yeah. All right, and we want to write the mass down. Okay, and the little red is the little arrow that's pointing down. All right, so how do you remember about writing the mass down when you have three different weights that are pointing down on three different masses? What do you do with those three weights? Add them, okay? So what's the heaviest one? 200. So I've got 200 plus what's on the top? 50 plus what on the bottom? Okay, 8. These are tenths. So this is 0.1, 0.2, oops, didn't look too good, 0.3, 0.4, that one will be 0.5, so this will be point what? 0.6, so 8.6. And most people do that in their head. I'm just emphasizing so you guys see how you get it. So when you add all that up, you can do it on a calculator if you need to, or you can do it in your head. That'll be 258.6. Now, what unit is going to go on a mass? Anybody know? It'll be grams, okay? The units are also on the equipment, so if you forget, you can look at the equipment to come up with the unit, okay? So let's practice another one. I'm just going to write it down. You can tell me what it says, okay? All right, how would we write this down? Okay, so 400, I heard 40, and I heard 5 point what? 2. So 445.2 grams. Questions? All right, we're going to practice that in a minute. All right, the last thing you're going to read today is a graduated cylinder. These are probably the hardest to read because they're clear and the lines are sort of a white color. Now, the water is going to be at a curve. Do we read the top or the bottom of the curve? You read the bottom of the curve. Now, sometimes the water will be right on the line, and sometimes it won't, okay? So, you're going to estimate where the water is, okay? So, if the water's not exactly on the line, estimate. So, this is 20, and that's 30. So, what is this line and this line supposed to be if you jump from a 20 to a 30? What are those lines supposed to be if you jump from a 20 to a 30? What do you think? Y'all got to talk to me. Really?
Yes.
Dear Lord. This class is going to be so boring if nobody will talk to me. These are the tens. So what comes after the tens place in math class? Close. After the fives. Think money. Lower than the fives. Ones place. Okay? So these are the ones. So this is 21, 22, 23, so forth and so on. Okay? So this will be 24, and this will be 25. So is the water all the way up to the 25 line? No, technically it's not. All right, but in physical science, I'm not going to get that bent out of shape if we can't read this to what I call significant digits in chemistry class, okay? So I want you to estimate. Some people look at it and they'll give me a decimal, and some people just use whole numbers. You choose in physical science. I don't care. You can either say 24 or 25 as far as I am concerned, or you can use a decimal. Which way you want to go? Okay, which one's it closer to? Then write 25. Okay? What unit goes on a volume? If you look at your graduated cylinder, it's going to say milliliters. You got it? Okay. Let's practice. Now I'm going to tell you which ones we're going to do, because some of the equipment on the back and on the front we don't have. Give me these. These are the chemistry ones. Let's say significant digits. Grabbing out of the wrong pile here. These are y'all. I'm sorry. The pile fell awful light. This is you. The middle one on the graduate summit, we don't have. We're only doing the one on the right and the left. And then all three scales. Huh? Can't you do the cookie over there? It's okay. All right, we all have time? Still need more? Where we at? Since y'all won't talk to me, it's hard to figure out. How many? I don't know how many we have. Beyond how many you got done? Huh? You're done. Elizabeth, how about you? You need more time? Yes? Thank you for answering my question. Okay, keep going. Liliana, how about you? Okay. You done, Najee? Joseph, how about you? Okay. Tyler, what are you doing to your head? You did?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Then Jasmine.
Oh, she good.
Okay, what's she doing?
She's in college at Charlotte.
How many years does she have left?
I have no idea, like 4 maybe.
Did she just start this year?
Yeah, she just.
Oh, okay, I can't keep track when people graduate. Okay.
I think she found what she wants to do.
What she want to do?
She wants to teach.
Okay,
She might, she said she wants to teach.
okay,
So I
cool.
was like, all right, bro, go for it.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Amen.
Is this your planning period? Okay.
Your head itch, Markel? No? And it's quiet when I ask them questions too. They won't talk to me.
Isn't that a nice change then?
Compared to fourth period last semester, I'm just sitting here enjoying it.
It's a nice change.
Fourth period's a little more interactive though.
Yeah.
I need y'all to be a little more like that. A little more interactive. All right, so we can look at what you got. See where we're at. What kind of questions we have? Because I don't want y'all to go to the counter in a minute and go, I don't know how to do any of this, Ms. Ball. That's going to be a problem. Then I'm going to feel like I didn't do a good job showing you how to do this. Or when I grade your lab papers and they're all wrong, then I'm going to be like, what? They told me that I had to do this. All right, so what'd you get in the first one? All right, so I heard some dissension in the crowd out there. All right, so what is here on the middle beam? So 600. What's on the top beam?
20.
20. All right, so 620. Now, are we up to the 3? So we're at 2. And then point. How many of these little tenths do we have? That's what I'd have got to. All right. So what do we think in the second one? What is our middle beam on? Okay, so 100. What's the top on? All right, I hear 8. What's this? What's this? So what is that? That's a 5. Even though it might look a little blurred, it's a 5. Okay, so 150. A 3 and a point. I hear 7 up front. Okay. All right, so the third one. This is 200. That's a what? 0. This is a what? And then point. I hear 5 and I hear 6. I can live with either answer. Okay, they're not fabulous drawings, so I can understand why you'd have trouble with that. All right, now, was everybody listening earlier when I said do the one on the right and the left? So that meant don't do that one. Okay, y'all did it anyways, probably. Oops, couldn't see my picture. All right, so what did you think about the first one? Okay, 56. I'm good with that. All right, and what do you think about the last one? Okay. Okay. Some people might have said 23.5, maybe. Anybody just say 23? Okay. That's fine if you didn't. All right. Let's talk. Oops, sorry, Jose. Now, I should point out that that's summer I fell off the sidewalk and broke my wrist and spent 4 months of physical therapy, and I'm still doing home therapy at home because that's all I got for a fist. Okay? So y'all try not to trip me. Or if I fall down because I'm not very graceful, help me up. You know, I'm very breakable. So try not to stick your feet out. Watch for me. You know, I'm just old and I'm klutzy. I mean, I was klutzy before I fell off the sidewalk, but in my defense, it was not a true sidewalk. It was a ramp for like carts and hand trucks and an auto parts store. My husband sent me to get something, and it was not marked. It was a sloped sidewalk. I didn't know it was sloped. I wanted to cut across to go to my car. It was not marked. It was not painted. It didn't have any little beads on it. It didn't have a sign up. There was nothing. It was a flat sidewalk. I just walked across the thing, and I could just go to my car and tripped. Okay? I'm not normally quite that close.
I'm always scared I'm gonna walk up the stairs and then not pay attention, and then like that stairs and you like step on that's not really there and you slam your foot really hard on the ground, it's gonna fall all the way back down.
Well, let me just say, now when I walk off the sidewalk, everybody laughs at me because I still
All the time.
Downtown's a real
True,
treat.
my fears are irrational fears. I'm not really scared of me.
Alright, so when you go to the counter, everything is on the counter except the thermometer. If you look at the back table, there's a thermometer holder on the back table. So when you've got the thermometer, everybody always asks me, not everybody, which way they go in. And I have no idea why this thermometer is out of the holder and upside down, other than I have somebody in my room first period and perhaps they were playing with it. But it needs to go in this direction so that the liquid is down in the water and you can read the temperature of the water. Now, it is not going to take long for the temperature to change. It's largely going to be room temperature, so it's not going to move a whole lot. Give it about a minute maximum to read the temperature and then read the temperature. Once you're done, bring it back, find a set of holes, and let it slide down gently. They should all sit about the same height. Okay? Set it down gently. At the counters, you will find a ruler, a scale, a graduated cylinder, and a beaker. You're going to need water. Gas is off. You can't turn the gas on because I've not turned the master control switch on. So that's not going to be an issue for us. Now, when you go to the counter and you need the water, this is the only caveat that I will give you about directions. You're going to need to take the sink lid off. Just be careful so that you don't knock anything over and set it off to the side. Now, check the sink, see if there's anything in it. Like I told you, if there's trash in it, just let me know and I'll go get the trash out. Just turn the water on gently when you need to get water. If you turn the water on really hard, and that's pretty hard there, but if it splashes everywhere, people's papers get wet and people get mad, okay? Secondly, if it's on really hard like that, and you stick the beaker or the graduated cylinder under it, water sprays everywhere. Everything gets wet, and then people just get pissed, okay? They don't want their stuff wet. That counter over there, if Tyler was to do that, would actually spray my desk, okay? Then I get pissed, okay? The paper towels that I will give you today, if you give me a paper towel, I had to buy. When we had the snowpocalypse back in December, I had a roll of paper towels the school gave me. We're so broke, they came and took the paper towels.
Oh my God.
I had to buy paper towels for my classroom so that y'all could have a roll of paper towels to use during lab today to spill water, okay? So, could you try not to spray water all over the room? Now, secondly, when you turn the water off, just push down gently, and it will turn off. Your hand should fit under here, okay? Your fingers. Don't mash it till it's flat on the counter, or you break the innards of the water faucet. Okay? Everybody with me? Mm-hmm. Now, we have 17 people. Okay? Groups of 2. It can be one group of 3. Don't make me go around and bust up groups, because I will. One group of 3. Okay, 1. Everybody got it? All right. Some days I will choose. Today you can choose. Okay.
Right there.
Oh, we're not having, we're not getting three.
Does everybody have a group of two?
We don't want to get
You don't want it. You're the group of three. All right, Grace, you got a partner? Otanel needs a partner. Otanel, work with Grace.
Sanitizer. I got you. STD shirt. 21. I was 50 minutes. 50.
Use the 50 at the bottom when you need it. But that's the bigger you measure.
I think in case somebody should
Yeah,
wear
it's recorded in the map.
Yeah, it might be Maybe just basically.
Call me, oh, bro, you ain't used to it. These are the full. No, we do it like that, bro. Yeah, you're right, yeah. My bad, bro. Yeah, I forgot what you were talking about. But that's one time.
It's not here.
Right, no, It was the same, so when that's. It was just. Listen up at the beach.
Yeah.
Yeah, you see. So the mass gets less from the water.
Huh?
The mass increase or decrease from the water.
Wait.
The mass would go up if you had water.
Place enough water.
110.
Did you weigh the mass of an empty beaker?
Yeah, 250.
You gotta weigh it empty. You don't just write down the 250 on the side, you gotta.
Blaming you, Mark Kelly, even though I'm the one who said that. You were to blame even though I'm at fault. I was like,
What they mean?
It's not.
yeah, that's it.
Look at you. You know it's not good. You tryna-
So 106.
What is the scale supposed to be? What is the scale?
Yeah, default to zero.
It's still, no, it's supposed to be. Up, down. So he.
Oh, yeah, so it goes back.
Oh, it has to go right here?
Yeah, that's like that. Yeah.
I think it's right now.
Oh.
Very much, and we can move around. Yes, sir.
Oh, yeah.
I know.
It's just a-
Thank God we in the classroom. But if not, I would've-
Wait, see, after this, they say you can't be in this.
So that's all right?
Okay, so it's two tricks.
Yeah. And then all you bring is that. Oh.
The bigger one, sure. Just do the bottom one.
Okay.
No.
I'll do this.
Huh?
Because I'm trying to get it to go back here.
Put it on.
For now. But how much?
Slide it back on mine. That's too heavy. Not by much. It's gonna be close to that. It'll be close. Slide it back. And I have to barely do that. Start to. Right over here. If it goes past, we're gonna do that.
Okay, so mission and math.
Go past the line again.
You don't have to put mine in here.
Is this past the line? Is that, I can't see, is this line?
How much?
Is this past the line?
You're supposed to put the water that you have.
This little arrow, is it past
I told you.
Well, you see, you said it after.
the line? One more. I can't do it from the back, so I can't see it. Cause y'all's is like right on the line.
Oh, wait. We should read that right there. I don't think we read that.
You read the line going up here. Yeah, because your hand on it.
I know that.
Man, like, what are you doing?
Oh,
I was like, bro, I'll go to the bottom.
It's cold anyway.
120 flat. They call that. They're not all going the same, it's okay. They're gonna be different, okay? So whatever you got is fine, okay? And then, yeah, you put water in on that. How you gonna find the master water?
You see here.
Reading that water, 125. How you gonna find the master water?
Okay.
Very good. Practice. Calculators are lit.
Pick up the You get your.
It's fine, just use that water. Good, stick it up there.
I'm
On its back.
Yeah, I don't think it'd
Calculators are. Stop with the phone and go get a calculator. Joseph, put up the phone and get a calculator. You're gonna need one later. I told you, we're not using our phones as calculators. Calculators are over there. Eduardo, go get one. It's not that far of a walk.
Stop, what are you doing? Yes, it is.
God's sakes, I walked a mile and a half this morning at 5.
It is that. Stop touching it. Yes.
You see the 2 inches.
I'm not.
You're gonna get a number for that.
That's straight.
Now the thing is.
Thank
this was
you.
for the other one.
We're supposed to measure.
Yeah,
That one's lighter.
I know. What's y'all doing? Well, they need help, bro. They put the whole cylinder on the thing.
I'll be there.
That's the graduation. You gotta find the mass of water. Can you weigh the mass of the beaker in the water? How do you find the mass of the water? If you know the mass of the beaker,
Yeah. That's the big bro.
you'll get a calculator.
Okay, now we have
I'm not talking to you right now.
Yeah.
Okay. So the beaker and the water have no decibels either?
No, it's the way we got it was to put it, it's directly on zero.
That's right.
Is it wrong, Justin? Or are you wrong? It's on zero.
Okay.
Is the line balanced?
It's close to.
The white line on this part is not.
Lined up with the white line, that one, then you got it.
What do you mean?
It's not right.
Let's say 45, 30, close to 100.
Because
This would be.
Run back.
Oh, it's
No more.
yeah.
So it's white lines are.
It is like this.
How is it so heavy? I think it's
That's why I say it's your head. Sometimes it's easier to see what it's gonna turn out to be. Not so much. Let loose of it for a second.
This wall,
I think they did.
this wall.
Hold on. There you go. That's better.
I'm serious.
You're right. You're wrong. Yeah.
We don't know how to measure.
These can't possibly be right. The beaker and the water would have to be more than just the beaker by
Oh, but
itself.
y'all told us to move it, right?
I told you, look, this is what you're supposed to do.
Lower the water in there.
Measure with
Where's
the
the
water,
water?
and then subtract the number.
How much water you got in there? Well, you put on the water in first.
That's what the paper says.
Cover it.
It's what you call those.
There, that's fine. Put it up there.
Don't think it's not, right?
Okay.
That's fine. You're probably-
Yeah.
Lower.
Then ours. This wall.
But,
Why is it?
Volume of
what I
water.
put in, masses,
Water.
beakers are not all the way the same. It's okay to know what it's saying, don't worry about it. Okay, tell me what it is. Tell me what it was.
Okay. So that's 30.
So write 136.1 on mass beaker and water. Now, if this is the mass of the beaker, and that's the beaker and the water together, how do you find just the water?
Put it in this.
Nope.
Oh.
You will. So go get a calculator.
No.
Subtract it by those.
You go subtract the mass of the empty beakers and the mass of the beakers of water.
Oh, and then you put it right here.
Who's that? Hand in the calculator.
And 4.1.
You guys do this already?
Better check that.
Watching me.
No, you trying to text me, my bad.
You're probably
I just
right.
got out of math class.
I didn't say you were wrong.
33.9.
But if you subtract wrong, I'm gonna mark it wrong on your paper. Okay. Next, when you want to find volume, now you pour it away. And then you read one. That's what you're doing. The volume, you read those lines. Next, you go back to the mass of water. And this is the mass of the beaker. And that's the mass of the beaker of water. Yeah.
Put it down.
How do you find the mass of water?
Watch. This is
Since you said you.
Hey, wait a minute.
Don't make it
Look, you got the beaker by itself,
Don't listen to her.
right? With underneath.
Who got some money?
Then you added the water to it.
35 mils.
How would you use just the water by itself?
It's 35. No, it's
There you
not.
go, yeah.
No, it's
There you
not.
go. Where the heck did you come from?
Really stupid.
Come on, Sam. What line? On Vegas?
Just
Okay, you're reading the line from percent, so you read the volume of the water, read these lines. Okay, that over there on Vegas.
Fine, 30, fine. Okay.
Alright, why are you two geniuses just standing there again? Come on,
Wait,
stand
wait,
up.
wait.
Oh, okay. Let's check it, let's check it.
Waiting the correct time.
Alright.
But yeah, so then like, yeah, the last one, yeah.
That's how we get 21 degrees Celsius.
Supposed to do Celsius?
Yeah. Length of paper. Like this paper?
It's not inches, dude. It's not inches.
It's 12
But when you get out your bed.
I'll call it.
Insurance, right? I mean, she said, she said,
I mean, this is recently somebody got.
27.
actually,
I feel like this American medium.
no, we don't do it.
Like where I live.
Alright, so I put it on
It's like farmer ranch people. It's this little kid, nobody like you worry about. Everybody knows everybody. Like there's people around us, like around us, is like kind of dangerous. Like a bunch of drugs like through the school road.
Oh, that's exactly.
There's another called so like it's like one dirt road.
Okay.
Not and like it's like a real bumpy dirt, right? Like don't get past the different roads. It's just like
I wanna cut a frog. Cut a frog.
they used to do lockdowns.
They stopped doing that.
9 cents.
Look, you want to do what?
Dissect the frog. I did. Yeah, they stopped doing it. Don't do that.
I'm talking about it's not part of the curriculum anymore.
How much bottle is that?
Like, it's gonna be dissect in college.
Yeah, like a stack of
Mass. This scale. So, triple B. Yeah, triple B.
When you finish, bring me your paper. Make sure all the water's dumped out of stuff.
Milliliters.
On that.
Oh my goodness.
You say milliliters?
For what?
Measurement of the quantity for mass.
I said for mass? No. Milliliters for mass. Milliliters can be a volume.
Milliliters could be volume, but also you're measuring this. The mass of it.
Oh, it's regular liters. I got cheese on it. Cheese regular liters. Water. I just like it.
I just saw West.
It's okay.
Yeah, the black one. It's like
Volume.
You didn't even put
Oh, you watched
it
I watched that one.
about this. I know.
Thing is, like, I haven't watched it forever. So, like,
Radiation.
no, that's awesome. Mine's
The liters being for volume.
the same car as mine. I think it's liters used for volume also.
Dude, I had it in February.
I could have got one bigger, but I didn't get it. Because, like, the thing was, like, where I got my car, they're like sour tires. They're like really cheap. Like, yours good. It's just like a shirt drive.
Yeah.
They're like real minor. The guy, he's an Asian dude who fixes it. And, like, he's like really cool, but like he's lenient and all that stuff. I bought this for $5.
Oh,
They told me where just like the thing was, like the seal was off, and like replace it with this. And I needed to like ring.
But I'm on a example, right? And it was a random title, but it had a lot of parts. And then I drove it for like 2 days, and it took and then the wheel came off. Yeah. And then like, it turns out it needed to fix it. But then after Antonio drove it, basically told us.
Okay.
So I only had a car for 2 days.
Why are you throwing things like that?
Like,
Oh, my camera. The camera.
like, but it had like a racing car. We was driving at like 11 a.m. I mean 11 p.m. and then Thomas texted me. I was like, Thomas is up, and then it was like, yeah, well in this car everybody's up. It was so loud, bro. Then we saw my car at a stop.
I see it. Like,
Oh, you don't have to sit.
it's just it's a.
On my car while I was driving. It was
Make sure you put your thermometers up and dump out all the water.
Hit the speed bump.
I knocked down already.
Right. Well, it wasn't really wrong. I just didn't have the resources. So I sold it. Bro, I'm about to just wait though, because I wanted to. It's either that or my best to do this or something. But if I get the Challenger, it's a 2018, so I'm gonna want it. Like, it's a V8 basically. So,
All right, who's still working? What group?
I mean, if they ain't looking, that car's straight. Oh, it's Subaru, they just dropped.
Whoa, what's that? Yes, somebody.
Yes, it's the same thing though. But I mean, I'm not buying a Subaru until that makes like a 400 horsepower Subaru. Then I'll buy it. But it's not.
1 minute.
Oh, that clock's slow.
Yes, it is. I need to take it down and move it forward.
I was wondering. I was like, I like my glasses this semester. I don't think they put English and math in the same semester for me, and I was like, I couldn't. That class. I've never failed a class so hard in my life. Like I've never failed any class, and I had like great grades. And then I failed. That's the class I failed. I failed math 3. I gotta take it next year. But I took personal finance. I take it for a Yeah, like she said, 26 people in our class would fail. 26. Yeah, like that's the whole class.
Find notes. Now we gotta do something new. Hey, we haven't taken notes much today. Didn't take it hardly any. Did notes in, practice, we did a lab, now we gotta do something new. Stop watching. It is right at the end of class, but that's just the way it shook out today. All right, did everybody turn in the lab sheets in it? Nobody kept theirs, right? Everybody gave it to me. If you didn't give it to me, I can't grade it. Not have a lab sheet in their hand. On to the old what is this? All right. Remember, you got to turn it in. They're on my desk at this point. All right, we're going to talk about area, volume, and density for the rest of class. Now, area and volume are not really part of our curriculum. I'm just going to tie them into density because density is part of our curriculum, and that's what we're going with tomorrow and Monday's class. Oh, apparently Joseph has his lab sheet. Now, area. Tell me what you remember about area. Thank you. All right, now this is getting ridiculous. You said, well, tell me what you remember about area. What's the formula from like late elementary school and middle school that y'all learned? You remember? Yeah, add all the sides. Or you could say what times what. See, there we go. See, I know y'all know something. Y'all are just shy. Area equals length times width. Okay, so the reason we're talking about it is we want to focus on the units. That was the whole conversation we had yesterday, is we're going to do word problems. So we need to get used to the units, seeing the units, putting the units on the answers. Now, did y'all put units on your data, in your data table? Yeah. If you answered no, it's -1 on every one you forgot. Okay, so if you got everything else right, it'll be a 93. So let's say that we're finding the area of this rectangle. Right? This side has 3 centimeters. This side has 5 centimeters. Everybody in here would probably yell out 15 without difficulty, right? Because you remember that from math class. But we want to get used to making sure our answers have units on them, and particularly the right units. So in science class, we would want to say area equals 5 centimeters times 3 centimeters. Now, everybody can say 15, but what happens in math class? Don't worry about math, it's irrelevant now. When we say a centimeter times a centimeter, it's just like x times x. What happens in math class? That's right. Instead of saying just centimeters, we have to say centimeters squared. Okay? So anytime you see something that is squared, you know it is an area. Okay? Anytime you see something that's square, you know it's an area. Now, the same thing is true for volume, except it's not squared, because squareds are areas. Correct. All right, have I given everybody enough time to catch up, or do I need to wait a little longer? All right, we there? All right, so if we talk about volume for a minute. All right, somewhere in your previous science background, y'all talked about volume. Was length times width, and what'd you have to add to volume? Times height, okay? So if you had, let's say, a cube. I can't draw for beans. Y'all found that out as we cruise through the year. My artistic ability is very limited, okay? So let's say that's our cube. And we know the sides of this cube are 4 centimeters by 3 centimeters by 5 centimeters, okay? And we've been asked to calculate its volume. We know that we're going to say 4 by 3 by 5. What's 12 by 5? That's 60? Okay. Now, this is what we talked about just a second ago. An x times an x times an x would be a what in math class? X times x times x. X cubed. So a centimeter times a centimeter times a centimeter would be a what? Be a centimeter cubed. So anytime you see a cubed equals volume. Okay? So anytime you see something that's cubed, you know it's a volume. Yes, Tom. Huh? Yeah. Now remember, once we get within that 10-minute window before the bell, the vest on the back side of the door. But 10 minutes after the bell and 10 minutes before the bell, I won't let you guys go. No, we're about 14 minutes, which is why I looked at my watch. I mean, I wouldn't have wasted one of my 3 hall passes 14 minutes before the bell, but far be it for me to stop you. All right. Everybody good with what we've got on the board? All right. And our final calculation that we're going to learn about, that we're going to work with today and tomorrow, is density. And this is the one I always have the greatest hope that students will remember when they come to me. And sometimes they do, but a lot of times they just don't for some reason. Sometimes it's because y'all had subs at the middle school and you just didn't have a teacher and you were working out of a textbook. Sometimes people had a real teacher and they do remember it. Does anybody remember anything about density? You remember the formula maybe or anything goes in it? Never done this. Okay. Density is defined as mass per unit of volume. Okay. Its formula is density equals mass divided by volume. Now, we're not going to write that out every time, so we're going to use shorthand. It's D equals M over V. Now, I'm going to give you something. On cardstock, I used to give it out on green paper. People started giving me a hard time when I'd say, get out your green card. So, that comes to you on orange. I didn't really intend to insult anyone. I just like the color green. And I bought green cardstock. And I bought one cardstock. Now, put your name on it. It's yours. If you lose it, I will give you a paper copy. You get to use this on every quiz And every test, do not take notes on it. Okay? It is the front cover and the back cover of the reference table that you're getting on exam day. Okay? It will open up into a giant periodic table for the inside of the reference table on exam day. Okay, I'm not giving you a periodic table today because you don't need it. I'll get it to the end of the semester when we get to it. So this is the front cover. This is the back cover. It's identical to what the state's giving you. We will use it all semester long so that when they give it to you on exam day, you know what to do with it. Okay? Nothing irritates me more than the end of the semester for some child to go, I'm going to do this. You better know what to do with it on exam day. All right? So if you turn to the back side, the formula for density is here. So when we take our first test early next week, you know where the formula is for density. Do you have to memorize that formula? No. The other two formulas, you really don't know by now, so I don't worry about you having to know those. But the density formula is given to you by the state. If you forget what the variables are, you don't remember density. You don't remember what D stands for. You just look over to the right, and what does it say? If you forget what M stands for, you just look over to the right, and what does it say? If you forget D, you just look over to the right, and it says body. Now I point that out because if you look at front, there's another formula that has V in it, and what's it say? It says velocity. Okay? So if you forget, you can look it up. Now, before we even talk about
Ms. Wall,
yes,
do you have Joseph Meza?
I do.
Could I see him in guidance for a minute?
Should he bring his stuff?
Probably. You tell me. It's going to take me about 5 minutes.
Okay, well, we have about 10 to lunch.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank
You're
you.
welcome. Joseph, take your stuff because the last person they asked for at the end of third period, they had for about 35 minutes. So I'm not too trusting on that 5 minutes.
It'll take you 5 minutes.
Heard that before. And they might only want him for 5. You might make it back. All right, so let me ask you this. Did anybody in middle school ever talk to you about putting something in like a cup or a graduated cylinder and ask you where things would settle in the graduated cylinder?
Yeah.
Like, okay, see, somebody remembers. So let's say that we have some molasses, some oil, and we'll use what second period we want to use. They want to use cheerwine. I don't know why they yelled out cheerwine, but they did. Okay, cheerwine's like water or soft drink, juice, anything like that. All right? Does anyone remember how that stuff fills in? What goes to the top, what goes to the bottom, anything, any reasons for why it goes where? Anything jogging your memory?
Well, with the most density goes to the bottom.
Okay, that's good.
Like water and
Okay.
oil don't mix.
Water and oil don't mix. That's good. That's a different concept. But you can also relate it to density, so I won't even say that. Okay? The one that is most dense goes to the bottom. All right, so what does that mean in terms of least dense? It goes to the top. All right, so what can you tell me now about ice in a cup when you get a drink? Is at the top, so what do you know about its density? It's less than the water or whatever drink that you happen to get, whether it's tea or a soft drink or water, whatever your drink of choice is. If the ice is floating, you know the ice is less dense, right? Okay. Now, based on your experience with these three, and molasses is just syrup. It's just a really yicky syrup, in my opinion. I don't like it. All right. Where would the molasses go in that setup? It would. Okay. Syrup is going to be more dense. The molasses is going to go to the bottom. Okay. Which one would go to the top? The what?
Oil.
Yep, the oil goes to the top. Think about your oil and vinegar salad dressings. Okay, the oil always goes to the top. And the Cheerwine would go in the middle. All right? If y'all take a driver's ed with Mr. Mormon?
Yes.
Okay. When did he teach y'all the most hazardous time to drive is when it's raining?
When it first begins.
Okay, why?
The oil
Because the oil is what?
slippery and
Less
dense.
dense. So when it starts to rain, the oil does what?
It runs out.
It floats up on the top of the water, okay? Because it's less dense. It starts to rain, the water comes down, the water breaks the oil up, the oil is less dense, and it rises, it floats to the top of the rainwater. And so the water now is broken loose, it's floating on top of that water. It's now caused the road to become more slippery. The tires can break traction and it can cause you to slide off the road. Okay? But it's because the oil is less dense. That's why it rises and floats up. Okay? Now, everybody good with that topic? Because we're going to calculate now. Everybody okay? All right, I'm going to stop watching the clock. Feeling a little hurt over here. Yeah, you already did that to me once. Yeah, you could have Mr. Moore's class. He teaches this too. All right, we're going to do this, then we're going to stop. So if you want to write it down, I'll let you write it down. And we're doing it largely to talk about the unit and how to write the unit, particularly for those of you who wrote no units on your lap. I'm just waiting on those people who are writing. There are several who are writing the example there. Some people don't like for me to talk while they're writing. All right, so if we look at the question, what are we finding? Find the question word. We're finding the what? Density. So density equals mass over volume is the formula. We're solving for D. Did they give us a mass?
45.
So you're going to put 45 grams over, what's our volume?
15.
Now, tell me what these units have in common. The units, the G and the ML. Do they have any, hold on, we'll get to that. Do the units have anything in common? Anything is the same? No, that's important to notice. Now, to solve, what do we have to do with the 45 and the 15? Just divide. So when we divide that, we're going to get 3 if I'm doing it in my head right. So when we write the unit down, since there's nothing in common, we can't get rid of either part. So we write the unit as grams over ml. We write both pieces, okay? And you can write it that way, or you can write it as 3g over ml, okay? And you guys can pack up because we're done for the day. Now, tomorrow we'll keep going with that, and we'll practice in class some math calculations. We didn't get as far as I wanted to today. I don't know if we'll actually get started on the lab with density tomorrow. It's possible we could get started on it by the end of class. If we don't get started on it tomorrow, then we will spend all day Monday doing the lab. I hope to start it tomorrow. If we don't get to it tomorrow, it'll be all day Monday. Remember, what's your homework? Study for the what? The quiz. The quiz is short, but it is a quiz. Okay? You guys have a good rest of your day. Oh, on my desk. You'll see the computer over there.